Бой начинается.
Welcome guys, Brandon here from Terminated Gaming, and once again we're back on World of Warships with another replay. I have to do a quick shout out here, and I actually made sure to go look back, but granted this is a person I watch myself. Caliber, thank you for letting me know on how to show my previous patch replays on the current patch. So of course this is patch 10.0 that we're on as of when I'm recording this. It'll probably be 10.1 by the time this is out. But this is actually a replay from before the Commander rework and in ranked. So this is 7v7 on the Trident map. So here's the team lineup because the side panels aren't up. I'm in the Tier 8 Massachusetts, as I believe it was the best choice for Tier 8 ranked this past season. I felt like Massachusetts is the best battleship for a couple reasons. It has really good secondary firepower if you spec into it, so it can deal with most any target. And its main guns are American. So the American guns on battleships are some of the best in the game. The features that might make it not worthwhile is the fact it doesn't have a hydro like the Germans do, which to some people that would be not as cool. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna make sure I got all these up for you guys. And let's just do that. I think that fixes it. Yep, there we go. Now we can see everything. Anyways, Massachusetts, Bismarck, Tirpitz maybe for the torpedoes. Some of those were some of the better battleships for this past season. I preferred to run the Massachusetts myself all the time. That was just my preference. And I had several decent, really good battles in the Massachusetts in ranked, which helped propel me up to the silver rank. I didn't really go at it for a lot of times, and that wasn't necessarily... I didn't take it seriously at first, so I didn't get all the way up like I should have. So this game was one of those ones where I was like frustrated at the end of it. Ranked battle can sometimes be frustrating, and it comes down to the play of everybody, but sometimes the plays of a few people can really mess with the game. And like I felt like I maybe didn't do necessarily enough this game, or if there was something more I could have did to finally, win us this match. But sometimes you can do enough and actually still win. So is this one of those matches where I did enough and we won, or is this another one of those matches where I didn't do enough and we didn't win? I don't know. We'll see. It could be that we won. It could be that we lost. But we won't know until the end. Starting off, I always either target destroyers or cruisers whenever available. It is smarter to get the DPM and the detectability out of the game while you can. And that Cleveland obliged me by reversing in front of my guns. So I was able to shoot. I'm going to take the blind shot on him anyways here. I have my secondaries focused on them as well. This is before the patch, so the secondaries are still laser accurate on the Americans. I put out the fire because I don't figure I'm going to be shot at by anything that's going to set a fire here in the immediate future. There is no... if you remember, there is an enemy Mogami off to our left who did cap A, I believe, because their enemy destroyer was last spotted near where they started. Massachusetts on Trident, I'd like to take up here to this F5 spot, so you can kind of help out with A and you can help out with the right. I show a little too much side here, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get kited away. So I'm actually slowed, and then I'm going to speed up through the turn. It's mainly because I'm going to try to get my guns traversed to help out this Bayard against this Mogami, and I'm also trying to, get turned before this Bismarck, but it's not going to be as easy as I'd hope. I think he's the one that's honking, not me. I popped my first heal here. I'm not actually running the healing flag, which, is kind of an odd choice not to run in this situation. Get all 9 shots off against the Mogami. They look decent, and then they fall short because I didn't give him enough lead on the on his left turn there. So the enemy Cleveland's very hurt, and the enemy Bismarck's half-life. But we also have most of our ships have taken damage here. The enemy team has a Graf Zeppelin, and we have a Enterprise, so I felt like we had the carrier advantage going into this. I wouldn't necessarily say it comes down to the CV play in this game, but you know, that decides the game. But when you have a CV and it's only 7v7, the CVs should be pulling a lot more weight because they have less AA to contend with. I missed another salvo there against the cruiser. I'm really trying to get him out. And at this point, I'm slightly kiting away from this Massachusetts. I haven't really pushed up anywhere. Mainly because I don't know where the enemy DD is for the immediate future here. So I didn't want to like get slapped by torpedoes just randomly. And then the enemy DD gets spotted over here. I switch over to have my secondaries target him while I shoot at the mass, because I figured I wouldn't have enough time to swing over before he went unspotted, which that was the case. Our friendly CV at least does react to the fact that the Benson's over here and sends planes, but sadly it's torpedo planes. I don't know, I wouldn't take torpedo planes against the Benson personally, but maybe it's all he had. So being shot at here by, I believe all three of the battleships have taken a swing at me at this point in the game, hoping to maybe try to get my mains to fire at him. So I had to get a good position over that with the mini-map. And then we get actually 3 hits on him, which is surprising because I think 3 shells impacted the island. And Massachusetts isn't as accurate as something like an Alabama, so it does not make it easy. The enemy Bismarcks have both just secured a kill on our Cleveland and North Carolina, so we're already immediately down 2 ships. And we haven't managed to kill any of theirs. My friendly Bismarck is pushing into A very aggressively, over-aggressively in my opinion. He's now broadside to a Massachusetts, and then he's also right there with a Mogami. So I try to assist him with the Mogami here, but like I said, dispersion on Massachusetts isn't necessarily that good, and of course my aim's also not that great. My better choice would have probably been shot at the battleship if I had that opportunity, because the Massachusetts is actually low, and that's what I'm going to try to do next. The Bismarck has stayed sideways to that mast long enough for the mast is able to put in a slap on his side, and he's lost a decent amount of health here. I'm continuing to push the smoke with the Benson, just keeping my bow in towards him, mainly because I don't want to immediately get slapped with torpedoes if I turned. But now that I'm just constantly spotted, I'm no longer spotted now, and the Bayard actually fires blind into the smoke and gets the Benson, and we take out the enemy Cleveland. But shortly after, our Graf Zeppelin took out our Asashio. The Asashio is one of those ships I wouldn't have necessarily brought into this game type, per se. But in certain situations, it's been very useful, because sometimes I just see a whole bunch of battleships. So now it's just down to me, the Bayard, and the Enterprise versus the remainder of the enemy team here. And remember, this is back to when manual secondaries, you had to select a target in order for your secondaries to fire. I get set on fire by the Mogami here while I'm continuing to shoot at the Massachusetts in front of him. I get a fire on the Massachusetts. He's low health. The Bayard's also shooting at the Mass. The Mass put out my fire here. I'm on a double, so I immediately pop both my damage con and my heal. And I'm going to shoot at the Mogami, actually, because my secondaries are going to hopefully set a fire on the Mass, and I can hopefully do something like that to the Mogami, where I can chunk off a decent portion of his health. Now, we have to worry that our CV might get taken out here by the enemy team pushing around that side, because they still have both their Bismarcks, and both of the Bismarcks, last we knew, were decently healthy. I swing out my guns here to try to get more shots on this Mogami. I fire just the rears and then just the fronts to see how he'll react. And the rear turret actually gets 7,000. And then the front turret gets 8, so we almost killed the Mogami there. I switched the secondary fire over to Mogami to hopefully finish him, as my secondaries lit another fire on the Massachusetts. Mogami's going to quickly exit my secondary range here shortly, but it only would take a couple hits for him to go down to secondary fire, if I could get him. Or if the Enterprise could send planes and get him, would work too. But either way, I figure I need to get the Mogami out, so I switch the secondaries back over to the Mass, fire at the Mogami, miss. Of course, I just needed to land one. I should have spread the fire a little bit more, and I probably would have got him. The Enterprise on our team gets the Massachusetts down. I switch the secondaries back over to the Mogami to hopefully maybe get them to fire out that far. Mogami launched another set of torps here, but I thankfully should avoid them. Once again, still not staggering my fire, which is really going to cost me here. Most likely, unless I can get... Yeah, I just got my one overpen I needed. Staggering your fire in that situation, which I wasn't doing, which I should have been doing, would have more likely to guarantee the finishing hit, and that Mogami wouldn't have been able to do any more damage to us than that first salvo if I would have did that. At this point, we're up to 1 kill, 92,000 damage, and I'm trying to get this cap, but I'm going to be ended up getting reset multiple times. Thankfully not there, so I might actually be able to snag this cap, because we really do need caps at this point. I pop another heal here. All my shells bounce off that enemy Bismarck out there at range. We get A-capped. I still have the Bayard. He's on decent health. My Enterprise sails on pass. I don't know what he's actually actively trying to do here. I lose my one of my front guns, which really sucks, because now most of my firepower is taken out. Thankfully, my secondaries did get a fire here against the Bismarck. The Enterprise comes around, hits him. Must have set a fire because the Bismarck takes and puts out that fire. And the main thing here right now is I can't get rammed. If I get rammed, the game's over. So I'm actually slowing down, hard slowing down. Or if I do get rammed, I need to take out the other Bismarck. So that's what I'm doing. The other Bismarck's broadside to me, so I fire at him. Of course, this enemy Bismarck here does not seem like he's interested in actually ramming me at this point, but I do 13,000 damage to the other Bismarck out there at range, because you're more likely to get citadels at that range against a Bismarck. This enemy Bismarck's been firing AP at me, so I've been able to bounce most of that. I aim at the other Bismarck. I'm turning to get more broadside here, to just at least get more gun turrets off on him while I basically am pursuing this other Bismarck that's in front of me. There we get another 10,000 damage. We got a high caliber Confederate. The Graf Zeppelin misses his dive bombs. That could have ended the game right there for me. The Bayard's burning the Bismarck in front of me down, so I'm going to try to get one more salvo off on that Bismarck far. But it doesn't look like it's to be. So I just fire at this one. I leave him on 700 health. Bayard finishes him off. So now it's a 3v2. I have no heals left, so I only have 9,000 health. I can't shoot at the Bismarck over by our Enterprise. And I'm hoping the Enterprise can finish him off. And I'm going to start trying to focus at this Graf Zeppelin here, who's launched his planes. These could still take me out if he got a good hit on my side with them. Thankfully, we take a decent amount of them out. I'm down to 5,000 health. I try to see if I can maybe get the shot off on that other Bismarck there. And he goes down to flooding. So now it's just this enemy Graf Zeppelin. Take 11,000 off right there. These torpedo planes could kill me here, and they probably will. This Graf Zeppelin has showed that he's decently accurate with his ordnance. So I take the one. Can I avoid the last one? I can. I'm still alive barely. But the Graf Zeppelin secondaries are starting to shoot at me. And it won't take very much more, so I get my last salvo. He takes me out with his secondaries. Puts him at 940 points. We get up to 178,561 damage. Now it only takes this Bayard and this Enterprise to finish this game if they can. But of course the Bayard's taking a decent hit and beating here from the Graf Zeppelin. His secondaries are going to do short work to the not well armored French cruiser. And we're just slowly watching this guy's, and then that salvo. Slowly working away the Bayard's health here. Bayard's firing AP. Doesn't look like he's doing too bad with it, but probably should switch over to HE here. And the game ends. Now that was a heartbreaker of a match. Could have went better. The enemy Graf Zeppelin really did just carry the enemy team there to the victory. So we did 178,562 damage off 57 target hits. We shot down 26 aircraft, got 1 kill ourselves. And we solo capped 1 of the caps. We had a Confederate and a high caliber for that game. Even though we lost, we came top of the team and actually had more base XP on the loss than anybody on the enemy team who actually won. That just goes to show how much my Massachusetts contributed to the match for my team and how well the enemy team just spread over all the damage and all the work. That enemy Graf Zeppelin obviously played that game very well. He got 2 kills, including myself. But yeah, 1903 base XP on a loss is pretty devastating. So for that match, we did, like I said, 178,000 damage. 134,000 of that came from the primary batteries. Secondary batteries, 15,000, and 28,000 from fires. Shot down 26 aircraft. We tanked almost 2 million potential damage. Yeah, spread out the damage across, I believe, almost everything on the enemy team. I think actually everything on the enemy team. We shot at everything. And then finally, Massachusetts is a premium ship. We made 1.7 million credits on the loss. And this was before Dasha became a 20, well, at the time, 19-point captain. Now she is a 21-point captain. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If so, rating me much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys most definitely on the next one. Peace out.
Shut up and sit down.